Without further ado, I would like to introduce you to the new head football coach here at Temple University, Coach Casey Keeler.
They got their guy, their man. Casey Keeler is part of the plan at Temple.
A new leader is coming to 10th and Diamond after a 4th straight 3-9 season. The final edition of Inside the Nest is live, and it starts right now. Hello and welcome to the season finale of Inside the Nest. Alongside Hayden Bandel, I'm Sam Cavone. It only took 2 weeks, but Temple has found its new leader at 10th and Diamond.
KC to Philly is official. Temple announced on Sunday afternoon that Casey Keeler is the new head coach after taking Sam Houston to a FCS national title in 2020. Everything said, Keeler has done nothing but succeed. Keeler has been a winner throughout his career. The PA native took Delaware to 3 national championships, winning 1 in 11 seasons. He just wrapped up his 11th season at Sam Houston, where he took the Bearcats to 6 FCS playoff berths, including winning 1 championship, as mentioned, in 2020. Keeler is the only coach to win a national championship with 2 different programs at the FCS level. He saw the Sam Houston Bearcats transition from FCS to FBS. His first season was a struggle, going 3-9, but year 2, a complete 180. The team going 9-3 in the new look CUSA. Temple is now hoping Keeler can do the same for the Owls by turning around a fledgling program.
Keeler was introduced as the Owls' 18th head coach in a news conference that took place moments ago across campus.
Kayla Levine is live outside the Liacouras Center, where it all just wrapped up. Hey, Kayla.
That's right, guys. Coach Keeler talked about everything from his excitement to be here to what his thoughts on recruiting locally in the area will look like. The first question I got to ask him was, why Temple?
Oh boy, why not Temple? I mean, first of all, I'm from the area. The second thing is that's always coming home for me and my wife. The second thing is that I played against these guys. And as I said in the press conference, I was on a Delaware team that lost 7 games in 3 years. 2 were to Temple. And those Temple teams were as good as anybody in the country. And so I know it can be done because it has been done in the past. And in more recent past with Al Golden and other coaches that have had success. So it's not like it hasn't been done here. So it can be done again.
And what do you feel you can do to help this team succeed in a positive way?
I'm sorry?
What do you think you can do to help this team succeed in a positive way?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing is trying to establish a culture where they learn to trust each other, where they learn that we're in this thing together. And that's been the reason why I've had such success, is because I've had great players, I've had great coaches, but more importantly, we all were in this thing together, moving the same direction. And so that's what I can bring to Temple football, is that culture of success.
And being from only an hour away, how do you feel that you can help that ability to recruit players from the area?
Yeah, I mean, the high school football in New Jersey, the high school football in Pennsylvania and Maryland, outstanding. And we need those kids here. And it's not like we're not going to recruit outside the region, but inside the region is going to be really important to us. So I'm excited. It's been a while since I've hit the East Coast in terms of recruiting, and you'll see me everywhere this coming recruiting season.
Thank you so much. Really nice to meet you. Coach Keeler has a long history of winning in college football. He has 46 postseason wins and 271 career wins and is ranked 22nd of all time among head coaches. Live from the Liacouras Center, I'm Kayla Levine. Guys, back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Kayla. Now, Hayden, I think it's really important to mention that before Keeler was hired over Thanksgiving break, there was a lot of commotion about whether Temple should even have a football program or not, so much so that President John Fry had to release a statement to wipe all the concerns away from everyone and say Temple is going to have a football program. It's also probably why Keeler got hired in just 14 days.
Yeah, and Temple, obviously, with National Signing Day on Wednesday, they don't have a lot of time to really bounce off of it. But now that they have Casey Keeler, it's going to be interesting to see how he works, right? Because we know this guy at every level where he was at, he won. Whether it was D3 at Rowan, whether it's at Sam Houston at the FBS level.
And he's willing to adapt and construct a team and be flexible with what these teams need. He's willing to work and do what it takes to bring people in, and he knows what it's like without NIL as well.
Well, yeah, and he has some experience with that as well, because Sam Houston did not have a lot of NIL money coming into its program. And so same thing with Temple, right? And there was a CBS Sports article written in October about just the difficulties that Sam Houston had with their NIL. And there was a report within that article that said that Keeler was on a visit with some of recruits that he was talking to, and he said, "You're at the wrong place if you're looking for NIL money." He said that to transfers too. So it's going to be interesting to see how he holds Temple transfers.
He knows and he's aware of the situation. So like you said, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be exciting. You know, how often does this happen? With a new coach coming in who is familiar with having less NIL.
Yeah, it's always a new thing, right, with coaches, right? They get hired to get fired, but I never really like to give the coaches the benefit of the doubt, but Casey Keeler seems to be legit.
He does.
And this hiring is getting strong early reviews from some big names around college football. Inside the Nets beat reporter Jackson Batchelor is live at the studio set to show the love Keeler's receiving from the football world. Hey, Jackson.
Guys, some big names across the sport who have worked with Coach Casey Keeler have high praise for the newest Temple head coach. Former Super Bowl winning quarterback Joe Flacco, who played under Keeler in his time at Delaware, said that he's a winner everywhere he goes and that Owls fans should be excited. Dan Lanning, who was part of Keeler's coaching staff at Sam Houston and now is the head coach for the current #1 team in the nation, Oregon, said that he was very thankful to coach for him. And Andy Talley, a 2020 College Football Hall of Fame inductee who used to be the head man at Villanova, coached multiple times against Keeler during his career and referred to his friend as not only one of the best recruiters in the country, but one of the best head coaches in general. Keeler clearly is very respected among his peers in college football. His experience and accolades speak for themselves, and Keeler has been coaching for 30 years and is the 21st winningest college coach of all time. Turning this Temple program around will be his next and maybe most difficult challenge. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Jackson Batchelor. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Jackson. Certainly a lot of praise from some of Keeler's former colleagues, which is great to see. But we wanted to get some more knowledge on him.
We now welcome in Carlos Zimmerman. Carlos has called the action for the Sam Houston football team for 2 years. He's seen Coach Keeler up close and personal. Thank you so much for joining us, Carlos.
Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate you.
Carlos, so we know about Keeler's resume, how he wins at everything. What is it about his style that just makes him so successful at doing that wherever he's been?
Well, I mean, it's been the common denominator in this whole program today is that he's a proven winner and he wins everywhere he goes. But I think what it boils down to is the humility that he has and the trust that he has in his players and his coaching staff, the administration, and that's what's made him so successful wherever he's gone. And he's willing to go aggressive at you on the football field. He'll be willing to do things that some teams probably wouldn't do or probably shouldn't do, but he does it at such a high level and is so successful with it. So I couldn't be more happy for him, getting to know him the last couple of years. I'm happy he gets to be closer to family, and he's a huge part of the history at Sam Houston, but he's going to bring that same success to Temple for sure.
Now, we hear that he's a great recruiter. What's his message to these prospective student athletes?
Yeah, I'll be truthful. I haven't been around when it comes to the recruiting side of things, but I'll say this. He's going to probably just explain to them the idea that he's a winner. And when you go to Temple, you're going to win with me as your head coach. So I think that's what it's going to boil down to at the end of the day. And it'll be a challenge for him for sure, as like he said in the press conference or in the interview with your colleague, that it's going to be interesting recruiting from the East Coast, given that he hasn't done it in quite a while. But I think he'll be able to, really drive it home, because especially out there with D1 colleges so far and few between out in the East Coast, high school recruiting is going to be a lot more bigger priority for him out there, and I think that's going to be a big benefit for him.
Carlos, what type of game does Coach Keeler coach? What should the fans expect from him?
You're gonna see just everything just thrown at him. The opponent's going to have everything thrown at him, basically. Everything in the playbook he's willing to throw at him. I'll say this, in the matchup with Texas State that Sam Houston had earlier this season, they were down 39-22 in the third quarter, and he pulled out all the stops to get the team back into it. And he has always had very successful offenses, but he's been blessed with really great defense as well. And he gives a lot of credit to his defensive coordinators. Clayton Carlin used to be the DC here, and now our current DC, Skylar Cassidy, has completely revamped the defense. And it goes back to him having full trust in his coordinators to do that. So you're going to see a lot of ground and pound on the offense, but on the defensive side, a lot of swarming to the ball, and it's going to be really hard to win against the Casey Keeler defense.
Well, Carlos, thank you so much for joining us and providing some insight into Temple's newest head coach.
Best of luck moving forward, Carlos. We're going to take a quick break right here on Inside the Nest and be back in just 90 seconds.
Now, the reason that Temple has a new coach is thanks to another disappointing season. 2024 came to an end over fall break with another loss. When we come back, we'll take a look at how the Owls fared against the Mean Green on Senior Day. Inside the Nest will be back in 90 seconds. Welcome back. It might be easy to forget that Temple played 2 games over fall break. A loss at UTSA on November 22nd, and then 1 week later, the final game of 2024. Temple hosted the North Texas Mean Green. For the Mean Green, it was an opportunity to become bowl eligible. For the Owls, it was a chance to get a win for the seniors saying goodbye. And we go to the link one last time this season. It's a fast start for the Mean Green as Chandler Morris completes a TD to TJ Sheffield to put his team on the board. After each team hits a field goal, Mackenzie McGill II breaks tackles and manages to stay in bounds to put North Texas up by 2 possessions. Then, in the first play of the second quarter, it is McGill yet again, damaging the Owls with his legs. Temple trails by 21 points. But then, just when you think Temple doesn't have any momentum, Joquez Smith is there to prove you wrong. Smith runs 22 yards and ends up just shy of a TD. Though, no need to worry. On the next play, Smith gets into the end zone for the score, and he is clearly pretty happy about his second career TD. Temple back with the ball, and Tyler Stewart with the reception. He gets to the North Texas 13-yard line. But a roughing the passer call gets Temple even closer to the goal line, and Evan Simon decides to take it in for himself. The Owls are back in it, 24-17.
The second half led predominantly by the defense. Temple still looking to convert on third down for the first time all game, but Simon gets dropped. Now 0 for 10 on third down conversions. Owls have to punt. 3rd and 2 for the Mean Green, and Morris finds Xavier Cowtie for the first down. 3rd down for the Mean Green, run from McGill, and DeJuan Black sends it back. North Texas is going to have to send out the field goal unit. DeJuan Black was a beast. Kali and Guma shanks it off the right upright, and Temple's got some life. Less than 70 seconds left to play. 4th and 6. Simon to the middle of the field, finds JDP. Yes, sirree. First down, Owls. To 3rd down, Simon looking to go to the sideline, and his pass is intercepted by Brian Nelson II, and that's your ball game. With no points to speak of in the second half, the Owls fall to the Mean Green, 24-17. For the 3rd time in 4 games, Evan Simon did not throw a touchdown pass. The redshirt junior did run one in. Simon was one of 2 Owls to have multiple rushing touchdowns, with 3 this season. The other, Terez Worthy, with 4. Dante Wright did not play in his final collegiate game due to injury. All said and done, Wright missed 4 games this season, but by a landslide was Simon's leading receiver in catches, yards, and touchdowns. The Owls did not convert on 3rd down until the final 2 minutes, going 1 for 16. But the defense gave them a shot, thanks to not allowing a single point after the first snap in the second quarter.
Looking back at it right now, it seems like that would have been a great way with a 2-minute drill, send those seniors out who have been here through a lot for 4 years, and, pretty disappointed. How I look at it, I couldn't tell you what my numbers are. I could give you a range, but I've been a part of 3 wins. It's not enough wins. That's how I look at it.
Tuesday morning, I got a tea time at Grand Dunes Member Course, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Now that sounds like a coach who is ready to pack his things up and get out the door. Withers was 0-2 as the interim head coach in this 3-win season. Drayton was 3-7. The Owls finished 11th in the AAC with a record of 2-6 in conference, which is actually an improvement. This is the first time in 4 years that Temple has racked up 2 wins in the American. It is also the 3rd consecutive year that the team has had the least number of rushing yards in the entire conference. Temple is now 11th in the AAC in passing compared to being 5th last season. And to add more mystery, the Owls gave up 425 points, which is second most, right behind Tulsa's 510.
Sam, for Temple's defense to put on that showing against North Texas, one of the best offenses in college football in terms of yards per game, with their defensive coordinator, now interim head coach for the majority of the year, just 1 foot out the door, I thought that was really impressive, right? Because we look at the TCU transfer, Chandler Morris, he's putting up over 325 pass yards per game.
It is very impressive, but it's not consistent for the Owls, and it's been this way all season that the offense does their job, the defense doesn't. And in this case, it was the defense did their job, had 10 consecutive stops at one point, and the offense just couldn't rack up any points on the board, couldn't get a run game going, only had 77 rushing yards.
It's tough without Dante Wright, too, because without
tough.
the rushing game going and you have Dante Wright, your best weapon, not out on the field for Temple. He's been their best guy all season long, right? 6 touchdowns on the year, led them in catches and yards as well. To not have him out on the field definitely hurts.
It's hard, but it's also not an excuse. You know, we've talked about it this season. You have to go to different people. At one point, Evan Simon was targeting different people other than Dante Wright. This game just didn't show that, and it needed to.
Before that game, Temple honored 19 players on the roster as part of its senior day.
Inside the Nest beat reporter Jackson Batchelor is back at the studio set to talk about what this game meant for those graduating players. Hey, Jackson.
Guys, as the Owls finished their 2024 season, we heard from senior linebacker DJ Woodbury Sr., who earned a single digit in 2024. He spoke about his experiences and accomplishments as a member of the Cherry and White for the past 4 seasons.
I look up every time and just like, time has flew by. Like, I didn't watch some of the greats, and now I'm in conversation with them with 100 tackles and stuff like that. I'm just blessed to be here. I feel like we just try to end with a bang. We've been playing good all year. We had our ups and downs, but when we rolling, we rolling. Like I done said it multiple times. I feel like some of the guys on our team is amazing to watch, especially him right next to me. AK, the D-line, DeJuan Black. We got some guys that can go. So when we rolling, it's just great to watch. Temple has a rich history. We didn't have some great linebackers, some really good ones. And I just watched them and try to emulate their games and their flaws and their great things. I just try to steal from them, and just being one of the best linebackers to be here, and then perform like one, it's a high honor. That's something that I'll take with me forever.
Even though Woodbury's career with the Owls may be over, he and his fellow senior teammate Tyquan King made program history. They were the first new linebacking duo to each pick up 100-plus tackles on the season. Reporting from the studio set, I'm Jackson Batchelor. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Jackson. Those seniors had history-making season, but it wasn't without some bumps along the road.
We'll take a look back at how the season panned out on 10th and Diamond when Inside the Nest returns. Welcome back. The 2024 season is officially stamped, and in one of the most unpredictable college football seasons, the most predictable thing happened. Temple going 3-9 for a 4th straight year.
So let's take a look at the most significant moments of this past season. We'll start with week 1 in Oklahoma. Temple loses 51-3 to a 16th ranked Oklahoma team, but that Oklahoma team finished the season unranked.
Then non-conference foe Utah State. We saw Temple's offense the best it looked all season, 45 points, and Maddox Trujillo had the longest field goal this season, 64-yarder right before halftime.
And then we go to week 6 in Connecticut. Temple is just a touchdown away from getting its first road win in a very long time, but a fumble disappoints that hope.
Then the Owls go into hibernation before heading home for the bye week.
Then, after the bye week, it's week 8 and a second win on the season at homecoming.
Then the Owls go on yet another bye week, their second one.
Then Week 12, an overtime victory against FAU and the firing of Stan Drayton.
In their final home game of the season, Temple unable to send their seniors off on a high note, but the defense did post a shutout, so they did good in that aspect.
You're right about that, but you know, we mentioned the Week 12 firing of Stan Drayton, but Temple was not the only program cleaning house this season. There's been a ton of turnovers in the AAC. It started with ECU letting go of Mike Houston on October 19th after starting the season 3-4. Then, a week later, Rice followed suit. Mike Bloomgren was fired after having a 24-52 record in 7 seasons. Less than a month later, Stan Drayton was relieved of his head coaching duties at Temple. Then, the very next day, Charlotte and FAU fired their coaches, who were both only in their second seasons. Then, finally, on November 23rd, Tulsa fired Kevin Wilson after a 63-30 loss at USF.
In the beginning of the season, we looked at the preseason poll. Now that the season has wrapped up, let's take a look at how every team did compared to its preseason rankings. Army jumped up 4 slots to get that #1 bid. Shout out to the one reporter that picked them to finish first in the conference. They were actually right. Then we saw Navy jump up the highest. They went up 8 slots to finish tied for 3rd with Memphis. Then the biggest drop was the FAU Owls, down 7 slots, originally picked for 6th. And your Temple Owls, they didn't finish last, so kudos to them. It's now time for us to take our final timeout of the season.
Don't go anywhere. Inside the Nest will return for the final time in 2024 in just 90 seconds. We're talking about the AAC and this weekend's title game.
Friday night, 8 o'clock, Michie Stadium is going to be bouncing. Army, they're not trying to take over America just yet, but instead, they're looking to win the American Conference.
But those Black Knights will have to go through the Tulane Green Wave first. It's the 8-0 Black Knights versus the 7-1 Green Wave for the AAC Championship. Now, who else to watch on the Army side of things than QB Bryson Daly? He's 9th in the NCAA in rushing yards and 2nd in rushing TDs. He has a career-high 1,348 rushing yards this season and isn't afraid to throw the ball, completing 57% of his attempts.
Now for Tulane, their best weapon on the field is their running back, Mekhi Hughes. He's 2nd in the American in rushing touchdowns, so most for running back because Daly's got him beat, and he has just been unreal. He's really just so physical. He's fast. He just jumps out of a cannon. 1,300 rushing yards on the season. He has been unreal. And speaking of championships, I've already got mine. Crown me back-to-back as the top protagonist on Inside the Nest. Just one loss has me as repeat champion in 2024. Good luck to the folks next season because we're wrapping things up here on our final episode of Inside the Nest. I'm going to be graduating in just a few weeks and would just like to express my gratitude to this crew, Sam, everyone else that's been a part of it over the last 3 seasons. I remember just telling my friends from back home one day I'd be in front of that camera, and here we are. So thank you to the people that guided me through ups, downs, like guys like Ray, Luke, Emily, Jake, everyone, all my producers that has ever trusted in me, and of course, the man in charge, Matt Fine. #TrustTheFine. Thank you.
Hayden, it's been an honor to share the desk with you after starting together as beat reporters for this very show last year. A big thank you to our producers, Sam Acid and Andrew DiPietro, our photogs, Domingo Dominguez and Sheldon Harvey, our graphics coordinator, Arden Patterson, and of course, another shout out to Matt Fine for the amazing opportunity to be on this desk. Thank you all for joining us each week and have a great winter break.